Hello world, Theet here, and in this video I will be showing you the progress I've made on my End Island transformation in hardcore Minecraft. This is by far the most ambitious project I've ever attempted in Minecraft, and it took over 150 hours to make, and it's still only halfway done. So if you enjoy this, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Thanks. Now let's get into the video. Before I could even begin working on transforming the End Island, I knew I needed a suitably grand entrance to the dimension. So I excavated a giant hole around the end portal and lined it with over 20,000 blocks of black concrete, and then topped it with black glass so that mobs couldn't spawn anywhere around the end portal. After that, I added some decoration in the form of sea lanterns and white glass, as well as just a few beacons to make the build a bit more three-dimensional and honestly just flex a bit. With that small side project out of the way, I was finally able to begin terraforming the End Island. Since the End Island terrain was quite erratic, and I am bad at terraforming, I decided it would be easiest to remove the whole island using a flying TNT duper and then rebuild it from scratch. Though actually, due to some mishaps with the obsidian pillars, my machine tragically blew itself up no fewer than 5 times, so I had to build 6 TNT flying machines. With the End Island bombed into oblivion and the obsidian pillars trimmed down to Y40, I began working on the centerpiece of the island, a colossal 216 block obsidian spire named the End of Pillars because the original 10 end pillars met their end to provide all the obsidian for this monstrosity. For detailing, I used tons of dark prismarine, end rods, magenta glass, and my entire stash of crying obsidian, and then some. Because it's mostly obsidian and crying obsidian, I feel like this building would survive an encounter with the Ender Dragon and emerge mostly intact. But even so, no more dragons will ever be spawned in this world because the rest of the island is a lot squishier. I also built a moat surrounding the end of pillars using dark prismarine for the bulk of it and adding in magma, endstone bricks, and obsidian for detailing, and included 8 hextuple beacons arrays under the water, making me almost invincible. I couldn't just have a moat floating in the void, so I began building the outer part of the island after that, which would come to be known as Ender Acres. To give the build a sense of depth without going to the trouble of making realistic terrain, I made several terraces. After covering the entire surface in moss carpets to prevent endermen from spawning and also give the area a lush, verdant feel, I began making buildings with the goal of eventually bringing villagers to the end and establishing a fully functional custom village here. I also made this cave, sort of access cave leading from the obsidian platform up to the surface of the build so that I could access it without climbing up an ugly water tower like I used to do. But now that I'm up here on the surface, I thought I would give you a tour of some of the custom village buildings that I made. So right here we have a blacksmith. I put a bunch of metal out front, some lava cauldrons just to give off light and prevent endermen from spawning in here. And then a couple of profession blocks and an anvil also, even though that's not a profession block. And then in here, there should be diamond armor on those armor stands. I guess I forgot to include it, but anyway, we also have an armor and a toolsmith in here because the armor and toolsmith houses in vanilla are kind of bland, so I didn't want to make specialized ones for those. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the blacksmith house. And then moving on, we have just a little tree where with some benches where villagers can, I don't know, sit and think, even though villagers can't sit, but let's just forget about that. Okay, here we have the stonemason house, some brick banner patterns out front, and then inside we have a stonecutter, piles of stone, and then there's also, it's hard to see from this angle, but if I go into third person, you can see there's bit of a tower, and also an iron golem on the roof for some reason. I guess I made some iron golems to keep the enderman populations in check, and I guess one of them somehow wandered onto the roof. Alright, yeah, let's just keep going clockwise. So we have the church where the clerics reside. I think it's funny how the villagers' religion seems to revolve around brewing. Maybe villagers are all alcoholics or something. I don't know. But anyway, this is the church. It's a church. It doesn't have a steeple, but not all churches do, I guess. It has a cross, though, so you can tell it's a church. And then back here we even have a little cemetery type thing, where all the dead villagers are buried, I guess. And then moving on, we have the cartography room, or the cartography building. These are usually like in vanilla. These are super tall usually, so the cartographers can see stuff, I guess. So I made this one pretty tall also, and it has like a map of the island, the end island. And yeah, the second and third rings are looking a little bare at the moment. This I am going to fix that. This build is not finished by any means. And then here we have one of the biggest buildings, and one of the ones I like the most. It's the library. So we have a librarian area, and like a reading room, and then this whole domed area with bookshelves, which I think is super cool. Kind of like it. There wasn't too much I could do with limited space, but I tried to make a cool library and also like cool other buildings. Like this tannery. I think this is actually the smallest building, but yeah, we have leather clothing, because leather workers. These cauldrons can't actually be claimed by villagers, which is intentional. I only have two tanners, or I'm only gonna have two tanners, so these are just here to look cool and generate smoke. And then out back we have two cauldrons where my villager dudes will actually work. And then because IRL tanneries are like a source of super toxic waste, I thought it would be funny to make this custom toxic waste pool behind the tannery. And then this is like a fletching area, or the Fletcher building. I don't think there's anything too unique. There's just like a little balcony up top so the Fletcher can test like shooting arrows or something. I don't know. Let's get back onto the main road and keep going. Here we have the shepherd house. This is going to have Jeb sheep in this pen. I'm going to bring a couple of Jeb sheep in there so they can be glowy. But yeah, there's just like a loom and a big pile of wool and some flowers for dyes. Those are like the only shepherd related things I can really think of aside from sheep, of course. And then here we have this like grocery store slash restaurant area where the farmer villagers reside. So there are bunches of crops, pumpkins, melons, wheats, the whole 9 yards. And then over here we have like the butcher area. I saw on Reddit that you can like, if you place food on an unlit campfire, then it'll just stay there indefinitely. So you can use it for all kinds of cool detail crafting. Like basically I made these racks of meat with it. And then of course I have the villager workstations here as well. And then up here, like a little restaurant area, with a glass roof so you can see out the top for some reason. I don't know why you would want to see the sky since there's really nothing in the sky, but you can see the sky if you want. And then over here, I just made this little park area to fill in the dead space. There's this pond, which I'm super proud of. Eventually, when I do the second ring, there's going to be a waterfall flowing in from the higher levels down into here. But for now, it's just a little pond with a bench. And there's some shrubbery, some endstone formations, a custom tree, bushes, just the typical stuff. And then I have done a little bit of work on the second ring. I have these villager meeting areas. There are actually 4 on each level because there are 4 on each level because this area is too big to function as a single village. So I need 4 village centers. So like the villagers that sort of live and work in this area will congregate by this bell. And then if we go over here, the villagers in this area are going to congregate by this bell. And yeah, this one is a little different. It's like an amethyst fountain instead of a tree, but yeah, I have two amethyst fountains and two trees as village centers. And then yeah, eventually this level is gonna be like residential areas, and then I'm gonna have like a few fancy mansions and agricultural areas and just general nature up on this level. Um, but yeah, I think that's. Oh wait, I didn't show you the bridge to the exit portal. It's just like it looks almost like liquid with glass and the light, especially like with the PSL shaders that I'm using. And then we go into this room, like it's the exit portal room. I don't really. I'm gonna do something with this eventually, but for now it's just filled with beacons, basically to intimidate the withers that I spawn down here in the wither kill chamber. The idea is they'll see all the beacons and just be too busy trembling in fear to actually fight me. Um, but yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you like this tour, and I do plan to post an updated tour when this build is finished, which is probably going to be a while. Probably going to be another 150 hours or so. But yeah, see you in the next video.